Um, just doing our thing. Having a good day. Just having a chill day. I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, so I thought I'd come on today. I will definitely be back on probably Sunday, but tomorrow I'm not gonna be here, so I thought I'd come on today since I've been on a mission to just kind of wait a minute. Did I need to do that? Yeah, so I thought I'd come on today. See how everybody doing. Uh, I might come. I might, but it would be brief tomorrow if I did come on tomorrow. It'd have to be early, so I don't know. I gotta step out. But if I do, I do. But I'm not making no promises. But anyway, here I am today. We're gonna do this thing. We just live today. We're gonna see what's up. Don't say I wasn't on here. We're gonna see who comes on today. Try some different things today. See what we got. So far, I see some people creeping, but nobody is really saying nothing. So we just gonna see. Cause if I don't see nobody come on today, I'm not gonna come on. I'm gonna come tomorrow. But we're gonna see what we're working with though. See if anybody's seen the 50 Cent AI spoof. The thing was hilarious. And it cracked me up because it just looked just like everybody. And I usually don't mess with AI, but that was funny. That was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. I do the circle again. Okay, we're right here. We're gonna see what we're working with. Give me a minute. I'm gonna see what's up. We gonna talk. What's up? 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 I just stepped out for just a moment. I am here. If you are here, come on back. I had to step out just a sec. Oh, I did the video about it. Did you see my video? Did you see my video? I tore his behind up. Matter of fact, I did quite a few videos today. I still got a long one about Michael Jackson 20th anniversary about the thing. I went in on your boy Tim Scott. I had a field day with old Tim. Got a video about old Trump. hmm I got them coming. Oh, between now and Monday, I took care of old Raggedy Ann Sage Steele too. I took care of some people. He was right about that. But then, see, what turned me off about him was how adamant he was against Kamala Harris. And it's not like I was in love with Kamala Harris, but he's like, I can't have a woman president. You tell me what to do. And I thought, okay, okay. And then he was trying to like defend Trump's situation. I'm like, okay, I see how you are. I know exactly how you are. So anyway, now he's all. Oh, I saw that one, the one from last year. You talking about that one from last year? Because I saw that one already. And as you know, I read Strawberry's books, and I knew about how Daryl got down. You know, him and Eric Davis were boys from L.A. and the whole dugout thing, and I know all about Straw, man. Straw was something else, yo. It's a shame too. You wouldn't believe me if I told you he was the link between Bonds and Griffey, and probably had the best swing of the three. Had a great arm. Um, you'd be very surprised. That dude should have him and Dwight Gooden. They could have been the Shaq and Kobe of baseball. You know, I'm just telling you what I'm talking about. Like just freaks. Please hit them likes up too. By the way, anybody coming through, feel free. But yeah, Straw was amazing. I cause how I knew about Strawberry. So I lived in Virginia, and we had a team called the Tidewater Tides. They played not that far from from my grandmother, my aunt's house, baseball field. Triple A, bad. Yeah, and then he beat prostate cancer twice. You remember he had to do a bid, and he had cancer twice. Quite a crazy story. Crazy story. And then I think his daughter went missing. Oh yeah, I mean when he played for the Giants too. I mean, because he was a raw talent. I mean, this he was like the natural. If there was the black version of Robert Redford, he was it. As great as Griffey was, and Griffey was on a, but this Strawberry, oh man, long lean, all the makings of top tier. You know, it's. I'm trying to think how I could compare it with. You know, like Lamar Odom was called the goods because he could play multiple positions and he had all that skill set. It's kind of like that, except Lamar didn't have the talent the Straw had, but he was talented, but he didn't have Straw's talent. It's hard to put into words, but you just know when you saw somebody that had the it, and then it just, and I tell you, that guy was bad, bad. Now I may or may not be on tomorrow. I got to do some tomorrow. I got to go out tomorrow, but today I'm on. Said he was with. Yeah, because he's with the Yankees, and there is a real rivalry with the Mets and the Yankees. Some people don't feel it. The Mets are like seen as the blue collar. The Yankees are seen as the glamour boys and all that. Even though the Bronx is a lot was a lot tougher than it was. It's a twisted plot. There's some people that are like that though. But when he's with the Mets, he seemed like the Mets were the underdog when they went away on horses against Boston, and they weren't as hyped as the Yankees. You know, but it was like being in two different worlds. I mean, it really was. It's like the Cubs and the White Sox. People don't understand that baseballness in a town. South side, north side, they don't be understanding that that stuff is real. It be real. It be real. I don't think he got nothing to do with his arm. He was really good. I think underrated skill would be his leadership qualities. Man, look, Star was. I mean, there are guys that you would have loved to have seen in totality. He's one of them, just like Conseco. In totality, put the job away and just do what you do best. Anyway, if you've seen that 50 Cent video, give me a one. If you haven't, type in 50 Cent DDAI video, short version. You're going to crack up if you haven't. That mess had me in stitches. That thing looked so surreal. It was hilarious. Oh, I laughed so hard. That thing was hilarious, man. And I cracked up. I laughed. I think I watched that thing like 12 straight times. I was cracking up. The Jay Z with the milk cart had me in stitches. I'm not even a big 50 Cent fan, but that troll was on fact. He spoke out about what? What he talk about? I saw him saying something about LeBron, but what he talking about? Yeah, if anybody ever need to shut up, it need to be him because it took him 60, 80 years to make it with Jalen Rose. And then he had his sponsor. And only reason why C Webb didn't end up, well, he wasn't gonna get the kind of time R. Kelly or Diddy, and that it's not quite the same. Oh, I heard something about that, but I ain't paid no mind. I ain't want to touch it because his wife might come over and try to give me a left hook through these side. What's up? What's up? But yeah, the whole thing with his booster with Michigan, he should be. I mean, he missed it. I used to call him Crimea Weber, and I was a Michigan fan. But when he was out, he was Crimea Weber was what we used to call him online. Cry all the time. Yeah. Oh, you know his wife and Jackie be up there. Hey, look, that woman cray yo. But hey, if it come out, she was doing some strange, then I wouldn't be shocked though. Right on. Appreciate your time. Right on. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. You know. So the NBA wise ain't no different than the industry wise, and after a while, it's all lines blurred. But it come out that she was doing some funny business with somebody else after she put Doug Christie on the leash. Then that'd be like the biggest. That'd be the biggest cap ever. Yeah, because at least in other cases, Cass was able to roam around. I did my videos. I already did my videos, and I clown. You know, and I got a term that I'm gonna use too. And don't be mad. He panics. It's a panic attack. So you can put the words together. Yeah, he panicked. He panicking. I'm not panicking. See, tell you something. You think black folk crazy? Think black folk don't know what they talking about? Say we get called lazy, only want reparations, don't want to do nothing, and say why y'all crying, and don't y'all know how good you got it, and you had no Obama, and you didn't any other. Meanwhile, we got to deal with police brutality, institutionalized systematic racism. What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing, Charlene? We got to deal with taking everything out of the schools. Don't want none. Yeah, when problem comes around, they want it all. But uh when it's when it's got to do with our we talking about we protesting or why y'all complaining or why y'all like this or why you like that, then you go run behind George Lopez. Yeah, happy Father's Day, the ones who celebrate, the ones that celebrate, respect you, much respect. But other than that, only when it's problems, then all of a sudden come along on the fantastic voyage and help out. But when we're going through it, what's wrong with you? Why y'all like that? Why y'all late? Why you not good? You got it. Why you complaining? Why? See, told people, I said, look, Trump's not gonna give you no love. He don't care about you. He dissing Ted Cruz and treat him all kinds of ways. What do you think he thinking about you? And you can't come at me about some white cat that had a silver spoon in his mouth, grew up upscale, wears fine suits, lives, etc. Richie rich, and he gonna understand what your problems are? Are you that delulu? Well, if you are, then well, there's no hope for you. Yeah, George Zimmerman. Yeah, well, yeah. So that's exactly. Oh well, I seen Will doing Men in Black in London or something online. He's still trying to revive his career. Yeah, because that last record went tuna fish can. Ain't nobody buying that mess. But see, that's how it is. This industry is demented, sad. Yes, time. Happy Father's Day to you. The best to you. Peace, blessings to all the ones who are fathers and to everyone who has a relationship with their father and stepfathers and uncles and cousins and godfathers, friends of the fathers. Bless y'all souls. If you celebrate, more power to you. Right on respect. Oh, of course. Why you how you think that he don't be acting? You think that what has he done that was so pro relax? He's from the hood. He's a good actor. Yes. Because he played like he was a accessible cat from Philly. You know, he put that two piece on Chris Rock. That don't seem like the Fresh Prince. And all that loudmouth and talking. Yes, 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 yes. He's one of the biggest ones there is. Oh, because he married a black woman and he has a family and he has business partners black and all that he can't be. Yeah, well, he's one. Yeah, Jason Kidd is a very complicated cat. It's complicated because they all in business together. Even though they're not being business together, you understand they got to stand on business. Now, if he was Willard Smith who just ran on the stage and sucker punched somebody, do you think he'd have got to go home and cry and tell his old sob story? That's bought and paid for right there, Ted, and to you, time. You sit up there and you cry after you two piece of dude KFC style. Now I can't stand Chris Rock, but come on now. But look, you sat there an hour later about, I won't think the Academy that I love it, right? Yeah, okay. He probably tired of hearing about his pops, and plus his father got some. Jason Kidd was wild, and yo, and I ain't talking about Tony Braxton. His stuff was wild. He wild, yo, wow. He suck up too, but he played it real core and cool, and he wanted them hood points too. Oh, I look, man, them at Will ain't no different. Shoot, cause Paige ain't one of them ones who's bought and paid for. That's why. And they don't even like him. Well, girl Gary Payton put some schooling on him. That's where he got his toolage from. Gary Gary Payton was the Jason Kidd like Moses Malone was to Hakeem Olajuwon. He worked with him. Okay, see, so I remember they from the Bay. That's like Dame's from the Bay, but Jay's kid, man, Jay Kidd was running wild, yo. Yeah, but Gary showed him a few things too. Gary showed him a few things. Gary always had a few tricks up the sleeve too. But you know, he was cut more of a magic style because of where he would pass. You know, he was built that way, but then but Jason was wild. Yo. But it took him like 20 years to learn how to shoot a three. But when he did, it's funny how that turned out. Oh yeah, drunk, pimp slap. He was a trip, man. But a bad dude, but not no top five point guard. That's why I had an issue with Magic Johnson. He wasn't no top five point guard. He belonged in the top 10. I'll give you that. And he over obviously he's over CP3, but he ain't no top five. He ain't better than John Stockton. But he did make careers, even though Kenyon Martin and Richard Jefferson, they're not exactly. Oh, yeah. Okay. Remember when he coached the Nets? You remember that game against the Lakers? And they had no timeouts, and Paul Pierce spilled that Gatorade. We used to crack up off of that. I hit my boy back. We cracked up off of that because that was the last 10 seconds of the game, and he spilled. Yeah, he did. Because Byron was in his behind. And Byron didn't do much as a head coach, though. Because when he got out to LA, that whole stupid, we're not going to shoot threes, and how that work out for Byron? But yeah, with that game against the Lakers, and he had Pierce spill the Gatorade and had the mop boy come. That was hilarious. It's on YouTube. That mess was hilarious. He coached with the yeah. Then he went to Milwaukee. He didn't coach some great players. He just he got to the finals. We'll see what happens. But you know, I like the AI video. I thought it was hilarious. I'm not disappointing him because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not disappointing him about the whole thing with Diddy. I'm disappointed about him shuffling for that Louisiana governor. But that video was funny. That was funny because he trolled his peers. But that whole mess with the Louisiana governor, I'll give you that. That was embarrassing. And I've done videos where I don't like him personally, but he's no different than Kanye and all of them. They all, you know. But that video was funny because the Diddy court case is hilarious. There's a lot of hilarity to it. That don't even feel like no RICO charge. They're not jealous. I'm gonna tell you why. Because he's basically a big old slab of meat. And he doesn't really he's a great talent, great player, right, stat wise. But he doesn't draw you in where you're oohing and eyeing. It's because he hits a lot of home runs and he hits power and what he does. But he's not a ooh and eye guy. I don't think that I don't oh, so if I got a chance to go see him in Otani, who you think I'm paying top dollar to go see? He's not that kind of dude. He just ain't. It ain't like A Rod or Jeter where you got excited. I'm just keeping it 100. And I look, I'm pulling for Aaron Judge. He's gonna be in AL MVP. I think if he does something in the postseason, it might. But I'm thinking, how they jealous of a dude who didn't show up till like Game 3 of the World Series and hit meaningless home run by the time he woke up? Freddie Freeman had already won 2 games, and Ice Cube had won a game for the Dodgers. Come on now. And I'm down with Judge, but I'm just saying. Well, here he did in the video was funny because he pointed that out. Well, what happened was they both tried to bury his career. If you must know, once upon a time, Jay Z came out with what's a 50 cent, what's a dollar. They tried to sabotage his career. He has a legit beef against these cats because when How to Rob came out, they did try to block him. Nobody would touch him. Diddy tried to hit on him. Jay Z tried to bury him. Irv Gotti and them tried to play him. So I would think that you talk about a cat who see people with the vapors and wanted to get payback on people. Oh, I understand from that because that industry is real petty and cats do a lot. They do a whole lot over the top. So he trolling these cats because he's saying these cats were janky and we're all together. And he spoke out. Ironically, I don't condone that Louisiana governor, all that Eminem slurping and all that other stuff he be doing, but he did speak out. I know he's not the same, but the feelings of how those guys tried to sabotage his career hasn't changed. He ain't got over how Jay Z tried to play him. He ain't get over how Irv Gotti tried to play him, and he didn't get over how the whole thing with Ja and Diddy and all of them. They did try to bury him. They did. See, I'm gonna tell you like this. In English time, it's this simple. None of those cats, most of them cats sold out, and none of them cats work together. So that's why you get what you get. And Diddy was trying to hit on him, and Jay Z was trying to bury him. Jay Z didn't want him to didn't want to touch him. I want you to understand the payola to bury your career. Of course, I remember when he didn't really want to work with R. Kelly, and they ended up putting a song with him and Kills on 50's album that came out 2011. But he spoke out on some stuff. But Yeah, he had a lot of these cats didn't want to touch him, and he called them out on their ways. Because if you remember, birds of a feather tend to flock together. Now, I don't condone, like I said, the whole thing with that Louisiana governor and and that whole him, but well, they were all connected. Because remember, Jay Z's connected with Irv as Diddy is too. Do you see how the players play in this situation? So that was all connected. So when he trolling them cats, he's looking at them all the same. Kanye too, because it's all connected. Birds of a feather. Yep. And you see Jay Z and Nas share Baby Mama and that whole nine. And look, Nas is a better rapper and all that, but Nas ain't no Mr. Clean. Nas got dirt, and Nas been associated with all that. So again, this sounds like a troll right here, but we'll see. They did Magic and Stephen A. was talking about Cooper Flag. They said if he turns out to something, I mean, if AD's healthy and Kyrie's healthy, and you get 25 to 50 games out of Klay Thompson, and you got another center, and you get a piece or two, who knows? But I doubt all that's gonna happen. This is the Dallas Mavericks we're talking about, and a lot gotta happen just to break even. But if AD is ever healthy, oh, they gonna make a statement. They can't say no basketball. But you can be funny though. And I like a good troll. We don't know no Cooper Flag yet. We don't know what he can do. Caitlin Clark is really good, but I'm just gonna say that. They're in the toilet because there ain't no teams that people want to see. And the other problem is, genius. All your great guys that you had the past decade are old. You know, they old. The ratings are in the toilet because people like Stephen A. Smith and the media and Nick Wright and them say, well, if it ain't this major market, you really don't have room for you. That's what that's about. That's got nothing to do. Indiana and OKC is great basketball. It's just that ain't what people want to be bedazzled. People lie all the time. They lie all the time. Oh, we want to keep it real, but they want a name brand. Oh, we don't mind. Yes, you do. He ain't played no NBA basketball yet, so we got to see how that turns out first before we start anointing and blowing horns. Let him play, and then we can come back to that. I don't mind if you troll, but at least troll when you done something. Don't troll until you prove. Because I got to see how you look with Kyrie and AD and Clay and all them. I was more of a Steve Harvey fan, but I do believe he jacked the mystical. I do know that he took that from Mark Curry, but the problem with Curry is this: Curry might be funnier, or might have a he don't have Steve Harvey's charisma. So you know, in the house was cute. It was cute. Whose side are you on? Whose place are you on? You trying to prove something? First of all, I'm gonna say this again. He ain't played no NBA game yet. Caitlin Clark ain't won nothing yet. So who are you to say anything? She's an all star, but she ain't won nothing. Cooper Flack ain't played no pro basketball yet. So until he comes on the basketball court, gets that run, see where everybody is, and Jason Kidd still is coach, and we're gonna see if he looks and if he turns out to be as half as good as the hype, then we'll talk. I ain't being rude. I don't appreciate you being disrespectful. No one was disrespectful to you. I know they're right about now because, Trump's in office and people think they can parade who they want, and they somehow think he's gonna be the save you because of who we are, but that ain't how it work here. I think Steve Harvey is funny on Family Feud. I think he has some moments, and why are you still arguing? I do think you disrespected me because you came on my platform and you wanted to hype up Cooper Flag and Caitlin Clark, and you know that that is very divisive. You already know. You're not dumb. Keep on talking because I know what's going on here at work. You need to keep it civil because if they weren't white, you wouldn't be showing up here, and I already know. And that's the justification of it all, really, because it's trying to promote an agenda. That's what this is about. He was, but let me tell you something, Tom. Most of those entertainers are jealous of one another. That's just how it goes. There's nothing surprising or shocking about that. But Steve is good enough at what he does, and he's a lot, and he connects with people. Travis Hunter gonna have to find out the hard way, and he's in a state that Florida has a that could be crazy. I hope it work out for him. He got because man, think about it. If you have a bad contract, a bad team, and a bad relationship, that could be heartache. We're gonna see. He gonna have all eyes on him. Because they ain't done nothing. And I already said what I said, and I don't mince words. I think Cooper Flag got some humble pie with Duke when they lost to Houston. I like him on Family Feud, and I did like the Steve Harvey show. His film career was okay because I like You Got Served. Not much of an actor, He kind of he didn't found a way to kind of be like the she ain't won nothing. Angel Reese got a chip from college. Where's Caitlin Clark's ring at? Not around the collar either. Okay, um, he's not 50 because 50 struck payday in ways that Steve never will. But Steve keeps more of a job though. They both hustling. Um, oh God, Charlene, those are like two like oof. Bellamy had more credibility as a host because he interviewed people, but they both like third tier. They're third tier hosts to me. I mean, they both corny for different reasons of cornball. Bellamy got hooked up because he's Shaq's cousin, and he was in the right place, right time. He be trying to do them more corny stand ups, which are basically Tubi time and Ted to Ted. That's like Bill Bellamy and Tig are both like Tubi time hosts. Tigger was cooler, but they both corny. But that's not two cats that really, I don't really, I can't. Neither one of them. But by default, I guess I'll give it to who would I think is a little bit cooler? Tigger. Who had the better career was Bellamy. Remember how to be a player? But he corny though. I mean, that's tough though. They cornballs though. You can laugh at Angel Reese all you want, but she did win her college ring. So that's all I can say. Somebody won a ring, somebody got around the collar. This the kind of trolling that I got to deal with though. I don't look at Steve Harvey like I do 50 Cent. Steve, yeah, they both haters in different ways, and they both shuffled along, and they both did some things. But Steve keeps regular, he keeps a regular tie that keeps him going. And Steve, and comedy is tougher than music is too. By the way, it's tougher to be a comedian and have a career where you blow up. It just is. Music is tough, period. But comedian, you're gonna get bottom of the barrel. So they end up on TV and get this gig, get that gig, do this, do that. Yeah. Ananda Lewis. I did a video about her. If you watch my videos, I did a video about her. Ananda. She used to be on MTV. She was a VJ. She was cool with both Prince and Maxwell, and very attractive woman. But I think this was almost preventable. I forgot what she did, but she had opportunity with something she could have done, and something happened, and I forgot all the logistics of it. You know, I remember Ananda very well. I remember most of the VJs on MTV, and she was good. She went and did Teen Summit. She worked with what's his name? Ed Gordon on you know what? If they win tomorrow, if they win tonight, it's a possibility because they are. Anybody who been watching my live stream. What have I said the last 2 months? I've been sounding like a James Brown record about them. I said the most dangerous team because they give you different looks, and they got about 5 or 6 guys who can score 15 points, and anybody can go off. That's what makes them so dangerous. That's what makes them so dangerous. Because you really ain't seen a team like this in the finals. This is how we know we're in parity. Teams like this might scare in the first round, second round, 20, 30 years ago. They may have gone deep in the 70s, but not like, especially a team that's in Indiana. Nothing like this. This team, like they could win the chip. They are problematic. And it's not that Shea didn't turn into a buster or nothing. It's just that you better hope they don't. If they win tonight, they put the pressure on them. And I don't know if OKC can win no three straight against them. I don't know. The Pacers are a type of juggernaut of a team. You just don't know who's gonna come out and blow up. They got it like that. It's a unique situation. I've never seen a basketball situation like this. Because I have to think about those Pistons in '04, but even they had, you know, with Rashid, who looked like a top tier, Ben Wallace, who was MVP worthy candidate, Chauncey, who had moments. But this here is just like, yeah, this here is different. Even when the Sonics won in '79 with Gus Williams and Dennis Johnson, I can make a case for Dennis Johnson. I mean, downtown Fred Brown Sigma, but well, Shea got to get Chad Hogan to be bigger. They scored, but they bench. Problem is that they're going against a team that matches them. Matches them. I don't think he lacks. I just think they don't have enough. Uh, they don't have a spot up shooter, a consistency. That's what their biggest problem is. They roll on plays, and they were in a pretty good position. It's just that they don't have consistency with their scoring, and their defense can't touch what this team can do. I'm telling you, this Pacer team is aggressive, agile, flexible. You know, you're basically looking at the mirror when you play against them, except you don't know where it's coming from. You ever been out in the woods or somewhere, or and you heard sounds and you thought it was close by, but it was far away and you didn't know where it was? That's what the Pacers are like. You really can't pinpoint it. And by the time you do, it's like they got three or four of those guys who can do that. The only problem with the Pacers is they tend to start off slow. Halliburton tends to pace, and sometimes Pascal doesn't get going. But then if they get playing and you don't put them away early, that's one thing too. Another thing about the Pacers, you generally can almost put them away if you play 4 quarters and if you get with them. But if you play pity pat with them, they'll tear your behind up, and that's all it is. But this is a pretty evenly matched series, even though they're not as talented as OKC. They play hard. Well, last year, Rick Carlisle looked embarrassing. He close. I ain't got no problem with saying anything about him because he playing out his mind, and I don't think it's a fluke. Because last year he was scary, and you know, again, he knows how to savor the moment. He's pacing in ways that he. I put it to you like this: don't be surprised if cats like him and Cade Cunningham have battles coming up. If the Pistons ever get another offensive force to catch Cade Cunningham, that's what you will see. Because Halliburton gives you problems, and he paces so nicely. That's the thing. Yeah, Rick Carlisle had a coach better last year. That series would have gone at least 6-7. They lose 2-3. They lost 2 games to Boston. Well, Caruso's problem is that he's a streaky kind of player. His defense and his hustle is on offensive suspect. Williams can be a problem. I just think that Chad Hogan got to be more dominant. I think that's one of their problems. They just don't have enough. You know, they need a guy that you have to respect with Shea that can score. And I think that's one of the problems. Excuse me. I think that's one of the major problems because I think that they got the talent, but they don't have the you know. But again, I'm gonna tell you something about this pacer. Let me cut. Let me just give it like this because I was talking the time. I mean that time, but Jay Will was on. Jay was on the other day. When they let's look at how they got to the finals. They beat Memphis, and once you stop Ja and what's his McCall, they are basically a 2.5 man team. Check. They beat Denver, and once you stop Jokic, and if Murray shows Aaron Gordon was how big, and that was and Murray to an extent, but that was that Murray. They stopped everybody else, but they had to go and stretch with that because they knew who to pinpoint. What to deal with Ant Edwards, if Justin Julius Randle to come a big, a 2.5 man team. This is dangerous because you ain't no Halliburton is the dude, and Pascal seems to be the dude. This is a whole different hit because you really don't know what they got 6 through 10. People seem to forget the mnemonic shit. What's that got to do with R. Kelly? I'm trying to figure out what you mean. Yeah, I mean, the cat that went off for Indiana other nights from Canada too. But the thing is, I just think that the series is just showing that they, this is hard for them to figure out. Because remember, John Moran, Jokic, and Edwards. Okay, you knew if you kind of kept that kind of contained, but this Pacer team is just not. They operate a little bit differently. Okay, okay, I was wondering because you said Arcade. Okay, I got you. But anyway, it's a little bit different with this situation because this Pacer team, they go 7-9, they go 11, 10, 10, 11 deep, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Remember something, it's not always just on paper, it's on the court. That's what people fail to realize. It's on the court. It's not just on paper. My secret weapon, like I said, again, is McConnell. Oh, McConnell is going to be a head coach when his career is over. I can already see it now. He got Rick Carlisle Jr. Whopper written all over him. They no, I mean they first of all, they a problem. They a problem. The key has been the same. If they run, is when they're their strongest. They're in the problem. They have problems when they slow the game down. So they gotta just go attack, 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 and they don't have to shoot threes. They just have to hit the rim. If they come in, that's why Miles Turner has to. I'm telling you, he due for a big game. Pacers can win this series if they play that kind of ball. It just has to be team ball, and I'm telling you, that's what makes them dangerous. Because you gotta remember something. These teams are younger now. They're not the same player. Because Anthony Edwards' maturation hasn't compartmentalized to that level. SGA is very composed and mild mannered. And Edwards has moments where he can look special. I don't talk about that in a little bit. I don't think so. I think they just one of the most dumbest teams I've ever seen. You don't mean to tell me you blow 3 games, about 15, 20 point leads, and you shooting threes when you got to lead and you don't play smart. They're one of the dumbest teams I ever seen. Larry Bird would not have done that. No, Edwards has to work on figuring out some of the components because it's the same way he lost to Dallas last year. And I don't think I know about Gobert, but that's not the problem with Minnesota. That is a problem, but it's not the main problem. I think they need a better coach. Gone to 2 Western Conference Finals. I think their coach is a little suspect. I think he's a settler, and I think until they get a point guard that can put Ant in his right place, get somebody in the low post, the team would go really go big. Because it is Julius Randle played great, and they just got to get something with the bench. I don't see Boston winning. Boston just plays like that was some of the dumbest basketball I ever seen. All you had to do was finish, and you still shooting 30 threes, and you were up by 15. That's not a smart team. There are ways to lose, and then there are ways to be done. Tatum getting hurt was one thing, but losing because you did stupidity was just they were a better team in New York. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. And that's on the coach and on the veteran players. I'm sorry. You can't play like that. And then I can't respect it because that was one of the worst performances by a so-called championship team I've ever seen. To come out there and lose 3 games to the Knicks like that, and after you had and the Knicks had to hold you under 95 points, the Knicks couldn't even crack 100 on you in a couple of games. You know, so a Drew Holiday, and I would probably say if they could get their hands on a oh, they need one more person that can be versatile to complement what they got. They can get that, then they could be a problem. But they got to get a Drew Holiday type of guard, and they got to get one more person at the start to complement Julius Randle, and then you got those bench guys. Then you might be on to something. But they got to get a coach who understands how to get them. They lost the same way 2 years in a row. The way they lost to Kyrie and Dallas, same way they lost to Shea and OKC. So you can give up some of your bench for Derek White. I sure would. Deep down inside, I still think Ant's gonna probably try to end up walking. If they stink another year or two, he'll be wanting to get out of there. I can't see him playing his career whole career there because of how desperate they are. Thanks for taking the poll and keep on hitting the likes up. Porzingis, well, yeah. The only problem though is that again, we didn't fit with what's going on with Ant. It's just that's the only thing because it's very strategic what you got to do. You've been knocking at the door. Now, what do you do to get through the door? So you got to think that they got to get the right pieces to get through the door. And one of their problems is getting more scoring. So a couple of cats off the bench would be just what they need. Two legit bench guys and one starter, and I think they would be just right. They need the right three pieces if you're Minnesota. But I don't know what you have to give up though. I can't imagine. And nobody gonna touch Rudy Gobert though. But he would be scary on a team that doesn't require a lot though. So I mean, if he was a legit double double man and he played like a Rodman type of role or Ben Wallace role, then I could understand teams would be trying to get him. But that's the problem. No, that ain't gonna happen. First of all, Giannis ain't gonna go from one extreme to another, so you can kiss that goodbye. And Joel Embiid, uh, no. I mean, he too injury prone, so that trade would be null and void. Now, if you put Giannis with Edwards, that'd be scary. And all you have to do is get like a legit point guard and some bench cats, and y'all can make a strong case to come out the West. Because that's all you really would need there. Joel Embiid, no, he too injury prone. And Edwards camps out in the third round. Joel Embiid hardly gets past the second round. I don't think that's gonna work at this stage. I don't think that's gonna work. You know, could be wrong, but you gotta have the right pieces and components. And I don't know. Of course, if Embiid becomes low ball hanging fruit, and someone scoops him up, that could be a steal if he plays worth something. But Miles Turner better than Roy Hibbert. It's two different ways of playing center. That's not even fair. I think sometimes Miles Turner reminds me of a double broke version of Anthony Davis, but he just ain't consistent with nothing. Hibbert was a different type of low post. It was a different situation. I can't compare. See, basketball has changed in a decade. That Pacers team with Paul George and Granger and them and Hibbert was completely different than what you see today. But actually, this Pacer team is better adjusted. Hibbert would be scary with this team because he fit. One thing I like about what I see with the Pacers team, unlike when Frank Vogel, is that the pieces here actually fit because no one is seeing out the element, unlike with that Pacer team with Paul George. And so that made it a problem. No, he gets more hits. He gets more shot attempts with his views and clicks than he does on the. Oh God, that's true. He been done as a basketball player from keeping 100. I can't condone his playing. I don't, but I don't pay Paul George no mind though. No, because he's always been a wannabe. People out here trolling online talking about OKC trade him and Indiana trade him, and look what he just he was supposed to be. He was a triple junior broke version of Kobe and a double junior whopper broke version of Vince Carter, and just a broke version of a guy who had skills and possibilities, and then nothing came of it. And he's been injury prone mentally and physically. So he's kind of like that R&B singer that you know that's got some songs, but you can't remember what it was. You heard he was supposed to be something, but it didn't never quite happen. That's Paul George's story. You know, we spent our time waiting on him to emerge, and it never happened. Lots of possibilities, but it never happened. OKC. One thing he known for is that him and Damon Lee used to get into it and be waving and hugging it out, and one go Cancun, and that was Paul George. Always, something with him. So I'd say a really good to almost very good player, but that's all I go. Well, the only problem is that Orange Juice Jones actually had a hit song. What Paul George hit has he had? They suck, fraudulent, embarrassing. Snoop Dogg getting. Are you kidding me? Icon Award? Are you kidding me? Oh, just because. I'm gonna tell you what I said about the BET Awards, and I did a video about it. It should be coming soon. If it ain't out, it's coming soon. You could put lipstick on a pig; it's still a pig. That's how I look at the show. They gloss it up with all the dressing up, but they still vulgar. They still foul, and it's still bought and paid for. I just thought just bought and paid for, folks. It's cringy, and they don't even acknowledge the people they should. They should have had a Sly Stone Award. Where your Sly Stone Award at? Where your Lionel Richie Awards at? Where your Barry White Awards at? Where your Rick James Award? Where your awards at? Like you can't give Snoop an award for the next 5 years. Jamie Foxx an award for the next 5 years. Come on now. He's like honey comes without the nut. You never get a nut. Yeah, I cracked up, but that was a cool line. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, your award shows. But I used to like that part too. He did the sing sap thing. He rap sing. He had a couple of roles he did here and there. His vocal tone sound more like Eddie Murphy though. But anyway, that's how I look at Paul George. But he ain't even got no Orange Juice Jones career. Cause not where it's that memorable. I think because it's a safe, easy bag, and realistically, her solo career didn't peak in prime. She's like a couple albums from 10 career solo records. There's really not much else she can do. Put a greatest hits package out. People ain't gonna. I mean, I think she got one more in a trilogy. She get to. There's not a lot going on. When people go back, that's because they don't have a lot going on with their career. Well, he got married over in England, and I seen him. I don't know if I'd have said that though. I'm not gonna. I liked his records a lot, and he was one of my favorites growing up. And I think he's the best singer to come out of Minneapolis. I take his vocals over Prince. But having said that though, I never thought of him as the next Luther, and I didn't think of Teddy Pendergrass. Let me tell you why. He could sing, and there were some big songs, but they weren't household songs. Luther Vandross either covered classic songs or him and Marcus Miller came up with some incredible songs. And Teddy Pendergrass were Gambling Huff. Who did Alexander? Jam and Lewis was great, but they were hit makers. But There's not sitting there listening to them songs thinking like, oh, you're gonna be the second comer of that guy. No. Yeah, because the thing is that her career can't really go no further. So these calculated moves, which can work, but see, there's a thing. That's how I know she's weak. That's how she's overrated. You ain't Diana Ross waited till like what 30 years later before she called Supremes, and she made a jokery tour. She wasn't even gonna go with Mary Wilson. Gonna do it wrong. This is not what you do if your career is successful and you got the films and you doing all the other stuff. That's not what the success careers do. So, but I think it's because basically with her solo career, it's kind of cooling off, and also it's not that deep to everyday. So I think that's what's up. She'll probably say something different, but I'm telling you, that's what I think. Bobby DeBarge. Bobby DeBarge. Well, he was more of a natural falsetto singer than Michael's. Bobby hit incredible range. He had crazy tone. Michael can hit notes, but Bobby DeBarge was wicked with it. DeBarge could hit notes too, but Bobby had a tone. Well, it's easy money, and she is in a business where she has to make money. She's not in a business where and you know, but again, it all depends on how you do it. She did have a relationship with them though. Yeah, and those songs still get sampled. They still get looped. They still get, they're just as big as they were then. They're almost 50 years old. Bobby the Bar is still being sampled, still being played. It cracks me up because the new generation's up on it. Because back when I was coming along, they almost was considered too black. They weren't gonna get that kind of crossover play. So it's amazing when I see Hurricane Chris and some of the other sample they stuff. It's like wow. I hope everybody's still staying on. We're gonna see what we're working with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, that was a big song, and the LTD was, they were kind of big, especially in that circle. Yeah, a lot of thoughts about LTD. Jeffrey Osborne did that cookout with Johnny Gill's cookout recently. Jeffrey still got it. He lost his wife a few months ago, but he still got it though. Still touring, still doing his thing. Cat looks good, been taking care of herself. I'll give it a few more minutes and see if anybody comes through because it got really quiet. So I think it people have pretty much called it a day. I don't see nobody posting, so I think I'm on call it a day. Appreciate when it came through. I might come back tomorrow.